What's happening, guys? I'm Speedy Spectrum and welcome to the post-game video for Mega Man 9. Yes, I know I've been away for a long time because adulting has gotten in the way of things lately. But now, I'm back! Over the course of this video, I'm going to show off different things which are unlocked after you beat the main story, most of which can be found in the challenges list. We're going to head over to Mega Man 9 for obvious reasons, and we're going to take a look at the extra challenges. These are a series of gauntlets which test your speedrunning abilities. You get thrown into a section from a stage or a boss fight, and depending on how quickly you can beat it, you are awarded a certain medal, ranging from bronze to silver to gold. It encompasses the 4 games included in Legacy Collection 2, just as Mega Man 1 through 6 was found in Legacy Collection 1. I'm not really going to demonstrate it, but I will show off the original challenges list. This is more or less an achievement list, and it was included in the original game. For example, in order to complete Waltz, you need to clear the game in 120 minutes or less. As you can see, I've got 34% of the achievement list completed. Steady, if not spectacular, progress. But what I really want to show off are the 2 attack modes. We're going to start with Endless Attack. In this mode, you are going to travel through an endless gauntlet. And the challenge is getting through as many screens as you can without dying. As you can see, we have all of our weapons, but no items. And that will also remain true for Time Attack mode. Speaking of Time Attack, there is one special stage that we'll be visiting once we get there. But for now, I am going to see how far I can go in Endless Attack because I'm not as familiar with this mode. It should be worth noting that while you don't have any E or M tanks, enemies can still drop health and weapon power, so you aren't completely on your own. Alright, we're gonna go, no, not the Rush Jet. We're going to use the Rush Coil instead. Well done, Rush. Obeying orders. And we're gonna keep on climbing. For every 5 screens, you will encounter a teleporter, which will take you to the next section. And I believe there are certain achievements on the original challenge list which involve the Endless Attack mode. I believe one of them is you need to clear 50 screens without dying, and that is quite a feat, let me tell you. Unfortunately, the enemies tend to be placed in very awkward locations. Alright, that takes care of that Machine Gun Joe. And let's deal with that one too, as well as the Shield Attacker, and that is it for these 5 screens. Now let's move on to the next one. The layout does change, and it is random, although there are still a set amount of possible scenarios you can encounter as far as Endless Attack is concerned. They aren't completely random. There are different screens that you can end up trying to complete. And I think I'm going to use the Rush Jet for this one. Speaking of which, whatever happened to the Rush Marine? That was a super useful tool in Mega Man 3. Okay, moving right along to screen number 12, we have more of the Adamskis. That's always nice. And these falling and rising platforms from Concrete Man's stage. Okay, so far I'm actually doing pretty well. As I've said before, the Jewel Satellite is the best way of dealing with those Shadow Mega Men. All right, moving right along. We're up to screen number 18. How far can I go, I wonder? I don't think I've ever gotten this far. Oh, it's the return of Pauzo. How's it going, man? Yes, you can even encounter mini-bosses in Endless Attack. Isn't that special? All right, and that green ball is the one that bounces, trust me. We're gonna need to remember that once we get to that special time attack stage. Now, this is gonna be a little difficult because we have to fall and then grab the ladder as we are falling, and I utterly failed. Well, at least I got to show off Endless Attack. 22 screens, it's a new record. Not bad at all. And now we come to Time Attack. In this mode, you challenge yourself to get the best possible completion time from any stage in the game. But there's one special stage that we want to pay particular attention to. I say special because it's literally called the Special Stage. So without further ado, here we go. We're transported to a cityscape in the middle of the night. I gotta say, that looks pretty darn cool. But that's the only thing that's cool about this stage because it is a nightmare. It definitely puts the night in nightmare if you catch my drift. Okay, I'm gonna try and stop saying the word night before we go night-night, so to speak. Okay, I'll stop now. Some of the most annoying enemies in the game can be found in this stage, including the spin cutters, the Karakaris, and the Datarnayapas. The Datarnayapas, in particular, are rather irritating because they tend to be close together. This first section is not that difficult, but there are some difficult platforming segments. And we do have these Popo Helis which can spring up on you all of a sudden. Wow, I utterly failed. I forgot to mention, if you choke on this stage, you're going back to square one. There is no checkpoint. So let's see if we can do a better job this time. I hate those things. They are very much the big eyes of Mega Man 9 because of the insane amount of health they take away from you if they hit you. Just like Endless Attack, the only way you can refill your health and weapon power is if enemies drop said power. Another thing you'll want to be careful about with the Datarnayapas is when they're close together, because if they are descending, they can still fire at you, so you could get sucker punched from behind. Hey, I like that. Yeah, those metal betas are in pretty awkward locations. Alright, let's see if we can get past you, and we can. Very good. I forgot what those things are called, actually. They are big stompers, yes, not big eyes. Now, does this scenario look familiar? Well, it should, because we encountered it in Stage 4 of Dr. Wily's castle. Fire a concrete shot at the laser, and you may proceed. We also have the Kakimba tanks, and they're a lot of fun to deal with, aren't they? You could shoot their shield with a pea shooter of doom, but it does have range, and odds are, since they're so durable, they'll probably get some free shots off you. Now, this stage in particular has a rather nasty surprise waiting for you in some of the future sections. And we're gonna have to deal with that momentarily, but for now we need to get past these shield attackers. This is actually a really good place to farm health and weapon power if you're running low. So when you are ready, equip the concrete shot and take the plunge. Yep, it's everybody's favorite mini-boss, Hanabirin. Now I'm really gonna need to concentrate here because I can't risk landing on that patch of death spikes, but I won't have to Man, he gave me no trouble whatsoever. Okay, that metal is in a precarious place. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna fly over with the rush jet. And when you are ready, equip the laser trident and walk through the end gate. Actually, it's not an end gate, it's a mini boss gate where we are reunited with Stonehead. As usual, wait until he falls down and dodge the rocks. But make sure you're in the air before he lands, otherwise you'll get stunned. The laser trident is easily the best weapon to deal with him. However, you'll want to be mindful of using the laser trident too much, because we're going to need it in a later section. Or should I say a laser section? I'm not funny. Okay. Thankfully, after that rest stop, we're back to full power as far as health is concerned. Unfortunately, we have to deal with another pause. Good thing there aren't any bottomless pits to deal with this time, as there were in Concrete Man's stage. Oh, that's a lot of Adam skis. So we're gonna climb the ladder, where we will encounter Chanky Dragon. Believe it or not, he's actually quite vulnerable to the black hole bomb. I never knew about this. It wasn't until I saw Megaquint's YouTube channel that I first discovered this. So a major shout out to Megaquint for his walkthrough of this stage. Seriously, if you haven't seen Megaquint's channel, he is one of the Mega Man gurus. Okay, right here is the return of the Smaplars from Plugman's stage. And the best way to deal with them is with Jewel Man's weapon. Of course, you can also use the Black Hole Bomb. But I want to refill the Tornado Blow because we're gonna be needing it a bit later. And I was not quite ready for that. Let me try that again. We've got to deal with those stupid Diarns, which is a pain in the butt. The good news is we managed to get that health. But how do we get out? Simple. Fire the concrete shot, jump on the block, and presto changeo. Remember when I said we needed to be mindful of how much of the laser trident tornado blow to use? Well, this is why. As if the mini bosses weren't bad enough, now we have to deal with Mega Mech Shark. Yeah, a full-blown boss fight. And we haven't even reached the real boss fight yet. Remember that the Mega Mech Shark fight comes in sections. The tail section is vulnerable to the laser trident. Now for the mid-section, this is where we're gonna need the tornado blow. If you are out of power for the tornado blow, or if the tornado blow is out of power, so to speak, use the magma bazooka. All right, that's it for the mid-section. Now we need to re-equip the laser trident and head for the head section. Okay, this is where things are gonna get a little bit difficult, because those lasers inflict a lot of damage. Now, believe it or not, you don't need to jump as much as you think you do. I just have to be very careful right here, and that's that! Awesome! Okay, that worked out pretty well, but we still need to deal with those flower presenters. And they're a little tricky because they're in some precarious locations. So I'm gonna need to be a bit careful taking them out. Oh, okay, come on, can we reach that? Yes, we can! Awesome! Oh, that is just what I needed. This is gonna put us in an excellent position to take out the boss. All right, we took out that last flower pot, and now we are golden. Because the game is kind enough to give us some weapon power and some health at the very end. We have to take out that Cama Flame Tail, which is easily done courtesy of the Hornet Chaser. So when you are ready, bounce up, grab the health, and we're going to refill the jewel satellite because that just happens to be the boss's weakness. So when you are ready, head through the end gate. Check it out! It's the police robot which arrested Dr. Light, also known as Fake Man. Whenever you activate the jewel satellite, he's going to jump in the opposite direction and fire at you. And I'm all out of power now. If you do get hit, it's much better to get hit by his shots than him plowing into you. And that is it for Fake Man. He's honestly pretty easy compared to his stage at the very least. Clear time, 6 minutes and 25 seconds. Not bad. Not enough to break my old record, though. All right, now that we've gone over the challenge menu, we're going to head back to the title screen and select Mega Man 9 to go to the Mega Man 9 title screen, because there's one more thing I need to talk about. We're going to start the game and we're going to load the special games list. I've talked about hero and superhero mode before, but once you clear the main story, you unlock Proto Man mode. That's right! You can play as Proto Man in Mega Man 9. Back when it was still on WiiWare or Microsoft Online, you had to pay to get him. About $2, I think. And he's not just a palette swap of Mega Man. Proto Man does have a few key differences which distinguish him from that of Mega Man. And I'm gonna go ahead and head to Galaxy Man's stage to demonstrate what he can do. The first difference comes at the intro. Yeah, I never get tired of listening to that whistle. Unlike Mega Man, Proto Man can charge his shots. Not only that, he also inherits the slide move. So if you're wondering why Mega Man couldn't do both in this game, well, they've been passed on to Proto Man. Proto Man can also use his shield in mid-air to block certain enemy shots. And that comes in handy when you're dealing with metals in awkward locations. Ah, you see right there? I deflected that shot. However, Proto Man also has some drawbacks. The most notable one being he takes twice as much damage from enemies as Mega Man does. Not only that, he also suffers from greater knockback when he gets hit. Also, he can only fire 2 shots in succession compared to Mega Man's 3. Lastly, he does not have access to the shop, meaning he cannot purchase E or M tanks. So that means the only way you can get them is by finding them in the game itself. And I'm gonna see how far I can get in Galaxy Man's stage with Proto Man. And just like Mega Man, Proto Man will also change color once he obtains a Robot Master weapon. I have to say, I really like the idea that you can play as Proto Man after seeing him in so many games since Mega Man 3. Heck, I don't think he even made an appearance in Mega Man 4. And he played a major role in Mega Man 5, obviously. But it's nice that we get to control him after all these years. At least, that was my first reaction when I found out about it. Oh, one other thing I forgot to mention about Proto Man is he doesn't have Rush. Instead, he has different utilities which mirror Rush's abilities. So he's got the Proto Coil instead of the Rush Coil, and he's got the Proto Jet instead of the Rush Jet. it kind of reminds me of items 1, 2, and 3 from Mega Man 2 before Rush was introduced. So it's kind of a neat little throwback they made. Whether that was their intention or not, I don't know. I just thought it would be worth pointing out. Also, I love how his scarf flows in the wind. But you saw how much damage I took from those yellow devils. Yeah, Proto Man takes a lot of skill to wield properly. So he's definitely the game's uber challenge mode. In Mega Man 10, he was actually available from the start. Mega Man 10, in fact, featured a third playable character, which I won't go into too much detail. At least not until we start playing Mega Man 10. And I really don't know when that will be. Hopefully it won't be such a long hiatus, as was the case between the last video and this one. Believe it or not, I actually recorded this video before, but for some reason I didn't have the audio output selected, so I couldn't hear any game audio when I went to play the video, and that was a bit of a problem. Alright, we are just about done here, so let's take on Galaxy Man. And since we don't have the Jewel Satellite, he's going to take a lot longer to defeat. But thankfully, Galaxy Man is really easy, as I've mentioned several times over. Oh dear. Of course, this is going to be a long fight since he spends most of his time in air. And with Proto Man's slide, you can actually avoid his attacks a little easier. Sadly, I'm not doing a very good job of it. Oh man, I am getting nailed. Maybe I should have started with Splash Woman instead. Alright, doing pretty well so far. Making steady, if not spectacular, progress. When I'm playing as Proto Man, I tend to try and keep my distance from enemies, since he takes a lot more damage. And the slide really helps with that. So it's nice that they gave him some extra abilities to make him unique, for lack of a better term. Alright, can we do it? Alright, so far so good. He and I both have the same amount of health. And I think all it's going to take is one more shot, and there we have it! Galaxy Man is gone for the third time. So now, for the first time in Mega Man, Proto Man's got the new power. And I believe he retains the same color as Mega Man does when he gets the power. Yeah, he does. And I love the fact that Proto Man has his back turned and then turns around when he gets the new weapon. That looks pretty cool. Well, that is it for Mega Man 9. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll be back for Mega Man 10. See ya!